Hello, this is Greg Allison from Green Greg's coming to you on the 27th of May. And I do have a whole lot to say because what I hold in my hand is this very supreme law of this land. It is understood by far too few. So I'm going to enlighten and tell to you why this document needs to be adhered and why we should not be living in fear. Okay, here's the thing. A lot of people don't really understand what is in this document and what it says. I brought out a couple of amendments, the 9th and 10th, and explained them to you in my recent powder keg video. And I laid upon you why you have rights. Also talked about responsibilities. But a lot of people still don't understand a lot of the basics of this Constitution. They think the government can just willy-nilly suspend rights and do whatever it deems it wants to do. I'm going to tell you that is wrong. And I'm going to explain it right here. So we're going to start talking about amendments to the Constitution. To change this document requires an amendment. Any change to it or modification, nuance or whatever, is actually an amendment to the process. Amendments to this document are to be taken seriously. For example, amendments are covered in Article 5. And Article 5 says, the Congress, whenever 2/3 or both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to this Constitution, or on the application of the legislatures of 2/3 of the several states shall call a convention proposing amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of the Constitution when ratified by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states. Okay, let's soak this in. 3/4. For one, it takes either 2/3 of both houses of Congress or 2/3 of the legislatures to propose an amendment. We're not talking something that can pass on a simple majority. Just to propose an amendment. The ratification thereof, according to Article 5 of the Constitution, requires not half, not a majority, not 2/3, but 3/4 of the several states, I mean all the states. Greg, what's that mean? What that means is the founders who wrote this document took it very seriously, any process to amend this document. So seriously that they made it very hard. They wanted the country to buy into it almost in its entirety. 3/4 of the legislatures of the several states. 3/4. Today, we see Congress passing laws willy-nilly that violate this document. Willy-nilly. Just whatever they want. And it is according to the, powers of the justices, of the judges, the judicial branch. They're supposed to throw that stuff out. The problem is, it is not left to them to rule for whatever they deem, even if they consider their panel of judges supreme. Because that is, if they violate this document, they are being obscene. Quite frankly, that's not given to them. That is not their right. And yet they're not upholding their duty. Remember, I read to you the oath of office sworn to by all federal officers, by all law enforcement, by all military. That oath that they all have to swear to is in protection of this document. The document, the law of our land, which gives liberties to as written, every woman and man. But the oath that they read says, I do solemnly swear that I do, well, of course I, and they say their name, I, whatever my name is, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So if somebody is not serving the purpose of the Constitution, that means they are an enemy thereof, whether they're foreign or domestic. So that says a lot. That's packed. That's loaded. But that is what the oaths say. That's what the officers sign up to. That's what they swear, solemnly swear to support and defend. They're written separately. They got to support it and they have to defend it. That's two different things. Not bend it willy-nilly to whatever they want to do without the proper process of amendment. And the proper process of amendment is 3/4 of the legislatures of the several states. And furthermore, nowhere in this document, nowhere at all, nowhere in this document does it give the power to the government, to any government therein, to suspend the Constitution, to modify any right in the Constitution or any part thereof at all for the cases of emergency of any type. It is not granted in the Constitution to do that. They still have to go through the amendment process. So this whole notion that the Constitution, that your rights can be suspended willy-nilly, is a myth that most people have bought into. Nowhere in the Constitution does it provide that. And it does provide for a means to amend it, but that means is very serious. Bear in mind that the United States was invaded in the War of 1812. In that invasion, the British captured and burnt the capital of the United States of America. They burnt Washington, D.C. They burnt our capital. And yet the Constitution was not suspended. The rights and freedoms of the people were not suspended by the government of the people. See, how more severe can it be? Yet today, they want to take your freedom and liberty for anything that sneezes. So let's look at this document some more. Oh, you might say, "Oh, Greg, you're a worm farmer. What do you got to do with the Constitution? You don't know anything about the Constitution?" My friends, in this lifetime, I've actually chaired a constitutional convention. Look at this. I don't know if we can focus on it. United Societies in Space. Thank Greg Allison, Convention 2000, Chairman and Rouse's Regent. United Societies in Space. Yeah. Convention. This was a constitutional convention that I chaired for space. Imagine that. This old worm farmer. And yes, I am a worm farmer, happily. So there you are. I know a little bit about this topic. I've been around the horn on it. So, besides that, what it requires is just the ability to read. It's written in pretty clear English, at least for what passed for what was clear English back in the 1700s. And the amendments are written in, more modern English. So this document is still plain to understand. It's kind of strange when you go to the internet. Most of the sources that talk about the Constitution give you a lot of narrative about everything, and it's hard to dig up the actual text of the Constitution itself. You have to really search to find good places on the internet now just to read the Constitution. I'll put a link below to one of the better ones. May not be the best one, but at least one where you can pretty much read it. And the Constitution, you need to get your pocket Constitution. So let's talk about some more of the liberties that our Constitution talks about. Some of the things that are mysteries to a lot of people. Like I said, a lot of people don't understand Article 5 and what it means. In fact, it seems the justices of the Supreme Court do not understand that. I find it interesting that in this document, in Article 1, the very first article of the Constitution, it's about the legislative powers of Congress. In Article 1, Section 9, one of my favorite numbers, Section 9 talks about the writ of habeas corpus. This is something that came about in the Magna Carta, the writ of habeas corpus. The Magna Carta was when the kings and nobles cornered the king of England back in the 1200s and said, hey, you know, you're just not playing right. We've got to have some freedoms and liberties in this country, in this land. We demand certain things. And one of them was that if they were going to be arrested and jailed, they wanted to be charged so that they could know what they were charged with and defend themselves against said charges. So they couldn't just be thrown in jail willy-nilly at the whims of the powers that be. So this Constitution of the United States, Article 1, Section 9 says, I will actually turn the camera to it so you can see it on this bale of hay. See that? The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion the public safety may require it. Now this is the only really exception, and it doesn't say that the Constitution is suspended, but just in this case the writ of habeas corpus. But notice what it says, unless the cases of rebellion or invasion. It's not for the public safety, this ties back to that. So, rebellion or invasion. It does not say terrorism. It's talking about major war on the grounds of the United States itself, when you've got to be expedient really fast. You know, in a war you do capture people. So this is a war on the grounds of the United States, rebellion or invasion, like in 1812 or in 1861 to 65. We had warfare here in the territory of the United States. So get that, soak that up, because the Patriot Act is in violation of that. The Patriot Act is null and void because it violates that. Also, some of the things that people are talking about to deal with the current bugs going around may also violate that. Bear that in mind. Public safety was interpreted as a Article 2 invasion or rebellion. You know, we're not talking just anything, you know, because you catch a sneeze, okay? This is major, serious stuff that we're talking about. But nowhere, that's the only place in the Constitution where any other provision is made for making a change to your rights. And it's only for the right of habeas corpus, which is considered a very primal right, which we're walking all over today, along with all the rest of the rights granted to us. So bear that in mind. These are important things to know. Let's see. I'm going to name a couple other things out of here. All right, we'll skip the treason part, although we might should hit it. I'm going to go back to some of the Bill of Rights. So, Amendment 4 is also pertaining, you know, think about this, all this contact tracing we're talking about, and surveillance of the surveillance state today. What does Amendment 4 say? I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to read it to you first. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause. Not these big, you know, carte blanche omnibus warrants that we see today, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. That's very specific. Again, they don't fit the omnibus approach so often taken today. And here, my friends, is Amendment 4 to the Constitution. Of course, we all know we have our First Amendment and our Second Amendment, and people often forget those. So let's go over it again. I didn't enumerate that last time because so many people already know about it, but just to be fair, Congress shall make no laws representing an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble, and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Excuse me? Wow. We can't prohibit the free exercise thereof? What are the government's doing today? Abridging the freedom of speech? Have you heard of free speech zones, press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble? Wow. I think they're walking all over this today, my friends. And it does say peaceably. I don't mean you can't exercise the Second Amendment in the prosecution of your First Amendment rights as long as you're peaceable. Of course, you always have the means and rights to defend yourself, but this was not written for the rights to defend yourself. This was really written to protect you from the government. A well-regulated militia, which again is the entire population, being necessary for the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people, it didn't say state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Of course, you can further interpret that and drive that home by the 9th Amendment. And the 9th Amendment is the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people, i.e., all the rest of the rights not enumerated in this Constitution belong to the people. And of course, Article 10, the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution or to the federal government, nor prohibited by it to the states, what the states can't do, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Wow, this document really is written for the people. This document's hard to change. It takes 3/4 of the legislature to change it. How about that? You know, we have all kind of checks and balances in our Constitution to ensure that we have these liberties. But, you know, how many checks and balances can you have? We've got 3 branches of government. Now, do you want 10, 20? You know, we can create a 4th branch to monitor the legislature. But then again, some people say the media is the 4th branch. No, the people. You are the 4th branch of government. And you are the foundational branch of government. The government derives its power from the people. And we know that from just how the Constitution starts out. I mean, if we just go to the Constitution, how does it start? It starts with, we, the people of the United States. In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do and ordain. And that's how this starts out. But what can we people do other than vote? These guys we all vote for have gone awry because the deep state has got so deep. See, the problem is we have a government that's so big, the bureaucracy is so large, that we have bureaucrats passing regulations that have the effect of law. Bureaucrats can tell you what you can do on your own, what's supposed to be your own private property, what you can do with your own health. They will tell you what you have to take into your body. Right? No, that's not right. You do have the protection of the 9th Amendment. You do have the protection of the 4th Amendment. So, do they have the right to put something in you and then trace and monitor you? Well, there are those that say they do because, well, they know what the Supreme Court will support. That does not make it right. Just because the Supreme Court will go a certain way does not mean that they are correct. So let's take a little trip over to, there is a founding document that gives us the ultimate freedom. The very founding document of the United States of America, from its inception, was the Declaration of Independence. And this is where the people have the most power. This is the final check on government. And this is a very revolutionary document because of what it says. But this is how the United States was founded. And it starts out, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for the people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume the powers of the earth in separate and equal station, to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect for the opinion of others, for the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. So it says you have the right to separate, but you have to declare the causes. And that's what is done here in the Declaration of Independence, to declare our separation from Great Britain. And then it leads in with what we all mostly know. We hold these truths to be self self-evident that all men, they don't say men of any color, and we will have to add women to this, that all men and mankind is inclusive of woman and womankind, as used typically in language. All men are created equal. That's powerful language. Even then, it was taking time. It took a couple hundred years for this to soak in, but what it said was hugely powerful. And the guy that wrote this, Thomas Jefferson, really understood that, but this is what he wrote. We hold the truth to be self-evident that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute a new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as they shall deem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Well, my friends, there it is. You are the fourth branch of government. You have the rights. The rights belong to you. They are inalienable, unquestionable rights that are not granted by the government, that are not granted by courts. They cannot be taken away by votes. The Constitution is one way of helping to protect these rights and may do so as long as it doesn't violate them. But it also rests on many tenets, such as a very arduous amendment process, which means that your rights are not to be abridged, they're not to be changed, they're not to be modified by the whims of a Congress, of a president, by executive order, or by judicial rulings. The judiciary is supposed to defend our rights. They're supposed to rule things unconstitutional. They seem to do the other more than not. So a lot of what's passing today is a law in our land. It's not the law of our land. It's in violation of the law of our land. So when someone comes to you who's solemnly sworn to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and they want to take from you those rights, including the ones that are cited in Amendment 9, which is everything else, they have no grounds to stand upon. They are in violation of their very oath and the Constitution when they do that. So, and no laws passed by Congress are valid that modify those. The same go for the states. No state can pass a law to change these rights, to take your Bill of Rights from you. Hello, Virginia. Yes. What's the flag of Virginia say, by the way? Think about it. These are things that you have to know. Therefore, this is what you cite if they come to your house to tell you to do things that you know are a violation of your Constitution. So you do have the rights. You have the rights. The rights are automatically yours as a human being. They're not granted by the government, but they are recognized fully by our foundational document, the law of our land, the Constitution of the United States of America, whom all the officers thereof swear solemnly to support and defend. So you can let them know that. It seems that almost nobody today knows that. Even guys like Glenn Beck sometimes miss it. They cite part of this, but you know, guys, the rights are yours. They do not have the right to violate them. And it's time that we wake up as a country en masse and tell the Congress this. It's time that we start standing up and saying, no, you're out of bounds. No, you are way out of bounds. This is not right. It's illegal. Your operation is illegal. Okay. Hello, this is Greg Allison. Let me show you how to support my channel and get your heirloom seeds at the same time. Simply find one of my videos that has the links below. Some of my live sessions don't. So I'd say go in here to this video. Here, and we're not going to watch the video right now. You should watch this video if you've not seen it, given what's going on in the country. I give them math on certain numbers here, but that's another story. So go down here, you can either go to my pinned comments and click more, or you can go up here to show more here. There's two ways. It's redundant. Show more or pinned comments. Either way, you're going to find links to videos and various other things. But at the very top, what you're going to find high up is these things for supporting my channel. And what you're going to find is I've teamed up with True Leaf Market, and here's the link. Click the link to True Leaf Market. Bada bang! There it is. Here, your non-GMO seed source since 1974. And look here what all you can get. You can get garden seeds, microgreen seeds, sprouting seeds, wheatgrass. You can get supplies to grow these things with. Everything you need. And you might smile real big. So my friends, all kind of seeds, things that you need to get your garden going. See, microgreens, I show you how to grow stuff indoors, gardening supplies. Let's say you want to grow carrots, bam, parsnips. And not only that, but True Leaf Market actually tells you how to grow your seeds. Look at these carrots here. Taste a little scrumptious. $2.49 for a pack of seeds. I mean, come on, can you beat that? They tell you where it grows and how to plant them. You can't beat that. Right here at True Leaf Market, an excellent source for your seeds. So please order. Use the link below my channel, in my videos, and it will save you money. So please use the link and support my channel. Thank you very much. My camera died when I was filming the last session, so to get all my videos, subscribe to my channel, bang the notification bell, and you'll see all the wonderful things I come up with on the very many topics that I cover. Please remember, to support your local community, vote with your dollar. Keep the money local. Support your local farmer. Support your local artisan, your local tradesman. Thank you for watching.